Hello everyone and welcome to Solving Systems of Equations by Substitution. So in my previous video I went over solving systems of equations by graphing. So substitution is different than graphing in that graphing you need to solve both equations for y and then graph them obviously. Substitution you have to solve them for one variable. It doesn't matter if it's x or y. And then you plug it into the other equation, and then you have all one variable. So I don't know if this helps, but if you have two equations, and the second one here is equal to y right there, so dx minus e, if I plug that in for y right there, where it says by, it's not the word by, it's by, it'll be b, instead of b times y, it's going to be b times dx minus e. And that's what this is saying right there. So it might look a little confusing, and hopefully it makes a bit more sense once we do some examples here. So look, if I add y to the other side, this says x equals 13 plus y. It's solved for x. So what you're going to want to do is take this and replace the letter x with that. And so I have, instead of 4x, I have 4 times 13 plus y plus 2y equals 10. So the purpose of this is, now that I've replaced the x variable with that expression has a y variable in it, and so now I only have a y variable, and so now it's an equation I can solve. I'll have to distribute. 4 times 13 is, what is that, 52, plus 4y plus 2y equals 10. So here I can combine like terms to make 6y equals 10, bring down that 52. So now I'm just solving the equation. So minus 52, 6y equals negative 42. Okay, I can divide both sides by 6. Y equals negative 7. Okay, so it would be real tempting to stop here, but remember, our original equations had an x and a y variable. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to plug in that negative 7 value into one of the equations. I could plug it into 4x plus 2y equals 10. I could also plug it into x minus y equals 13. In fact, I'm going to plug it into that one. X minus y equals 13, because that's a pretty simple equation. That's a 13. That's an ugly looking 13. But x minus negative 7 equals 13. So x plus 7 equals 13. What number plus 7 is 13? Well, why don't I just do 13 minus 7? And I get 6. And there we go. So I have my answer. So you're going to want to state it like a point, an ordered pair, I should say. So 6 comma negative 7 is your final answer. And you don't have to go back and check, but this is an instructional video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check, and I'm going to plug both numbers into that other equation I didn't use. So we had, what was it, 6 for x and negative 7 for y. So 4 times 6 plus 2 times negative 7, does that equal negative 10? Oh, sorry, it's a positive 10. So we just evaluate here. 4 times 6 is 24. 2 times 7 is 14, make it negative 7, so negative 14. Is 24 minus 14 10? Yes, it is. So that's how I know I did it correctly. I could also plug it in the other equation and see if it works for both, but it gets time consuming. So that's all there is to say on that one. On this one, no equation is equal to y. The bottom equation looks a little bit more simple than the top one. So I'm going to, I guess a minus 2y over. It doesn't matter if you solve for the x or the y. just do whatever looks easiest. So this is 21 minus 2y equals negative x. So positive x is going to equal negative 21 plus 2y. I just flipped the signs there. So now I'm ready to plug this in, and it was x equals, so I'm going to plug it in for the x variable. So it's going to say 7 times negative 21 plus 2y, and close that, plus 2y equals negative 19. Okay, so like it goes like before, distribute and then combine like terms. So 7 times negative 21 is negative 144. Excuse me, negative 147 plus 14y plus 2y equals negative 19. So I'll combine like terms, 16y, bring everything else down. Okay, now I'm ready to add 147 to the other side. And I get 16y equals 147 plus negative 19, or minus 19, is 130. Sorry, 128. And then 128 divided by 16 gets you 8. And so remember, we just solved for the y variable. So go back and plug it in, and let's figure out what the x variable is. See how we wrote x equals negative 21 plus 2y? I could even plug it in there. If I do that, I get right to the x answer. If I plug it in one of these other ones, it might be a little hairy. Let's see. So x equals negative 21 plus 2 times 16. Oh, 2 times 8, sorry. I was thinking 2 times 8 is 16. So that's negative 21 plus 16. That's negative 5. Okay? So I state my final answer as negative 5, comma 8. So you see how I plugged that in to the one that was solved for the x? I didn't do that on this one. I could have done 13 plus negative 7 and gotten right to 6. I could have done that, and I spent one extra step plugging into one of the original equations. It's your preference, whatever you feel is easiest. Maybe I should have done that on this one, but it's really not a big deal. You should always get the same answer. In fact, I'm going to go back and I'm going to check this. So here I plugged in negative 5 and 8 into this equation, negative x plus 2y equals 21. And so I get two negatives equal positive 5. 2 times 8 is 16. 5 plus 16 is 21. It worked out. So that was just the check step. All right. So let's do these next two. Here I don't have either one solved for a variable. So looking at the top one, if I minus 4x to the other side, I get negative y equals negative 4x plus 20, right? So I just minus 4x to each side. And I wrote the negative 4x first. So just like the last one, if it says negative y equals or negative x equals, flip all the signs. Positive y equals positive 4x minus 20 now. Now I can take that and I'm substituting it in for y this time. So I'm going to write negative 2x minus 2 times 4x minus 20. That's where that y would go, equals 10. So let's distribute. Negative 2x minus 8x looks like plus 40 now, equals 10. So this makes negative 10x plus 40 equals 10. So I can minus 40 to both sides. And I'll get negative 10x equals negative 30. So I divide by negative 10, and I get 3. X equals 3. All right, so it's a bit of work. And unfortunately, we're not done yet. So plug it into that y equals 1. Y equals 4 times 3 minus 20. That's 12 minus 20. That's negative 8. So my final answer, 3, negative 8. Again, plug it back in to check, but to save time, I'm going to skip that. All right, so last one here. If I just add 5x to the other side, I have y equals negative 2 plus 5x, or 5x minus 2. Doesn't really matter which way you write it in this case. Plug that in for the y there. So negative 3x plus 6 times negative 2 plus 5x equals negative 12. So let's see, I'm going to distribute. Negative 3x plus negative 12 plus 30x equals negative 12. So I can combine these two. That's going to make 27x minus 12 equals negative 12. So when I add 12 over, it's going to cancel on both sides. So you have 27x equals 0. So therefore x must equal 0, because if you were to really go through and show all your work, 0 divided by 27 is 0. So I have my x value there. Go ahead and plug it into that y equals 1 right there. Negative 2 plus 5x. Y equals negative 2 plus 5 times 0. That's just negative 2 plus 0, or negative 2. So final answer is 0, comma, negative 2. All right. So I put 6 examples on this other page. Go through and work them out. It'll take some time to do. So I'll pause and it'll jump cut to the answers. All right. Okay, so for this first one, I got a final answer of negative 5, negative 1. For the second one, I got negative 2, comma, 2. And for the third one, I got 2, comma, negative 2. For the fourth one, I got 3, comma, 2. For the fifth one, I got 1, comma, negative 3. And for the last one, I got negative 1, comma, 3. So hopefully I didn't make any mistakes. If you want to see detailed solutions, just pause it on the one that you missed. But I think they're all correct. I did do them kind of quickly, but it took me about 10 extra minutes to do. These take some time, I understand. But it's all about getting your reps in, okay? Practice solving by substitution. It gets easier over time. All right. Until next time. Bye, everyone.